society, agriculture is widely considered to be hard work that few, if any, of us are suited for. These days, you can take 4-year courses on farming practices and all the nuance that goes into producing food. And yet, there is a subset of games going back to the 1990s that places the player in the overalls of a farmer, and these have been extremely popular with all walks of life. I asked around and decided to see if I could find what makes games like Harvest Moon, Stardew Valley, Slime Rancher, and Farming Simulator so popular. Hi, I'm Allison, and welcome to some sort of investigative journalism piece, I suppose. The goal of this is to just sort of figure out why games about farming are so popular. And I've got a little bit of a unique stake in this one as well. And we'll start with that. A little about myself in this particular context, I suppose, since I hinted at that. I am the daughter of a third-generation dairy farmer, and I spent the first 18 years of my life learning how to care for cows. I figured then I'd start with the appeal of farming games to someone like me, or my little brother, as that's where my experience is. Both of us are really big fans of these games as well. Harvest Moon Friends of Mineral Town was actually our first exposure to the genre, and as young'uns, we bumbled through this, but we understood what was going on due to input from our mom and dad, who had the noted advantage of being able to have better reading comprehension than us. We would come in after chores on the real farm and immediately start working on our virtual ones, and this progressed to Farming Simulator later in our lives. This was pretty hard for our peers to understand. Why do you play games about farming? They would always ask us. Don't you get enough of that in your real lives? And yeah, maybe we did. But we narrowed it down to a few things as to why these games appealed to us. We could run the farm however we saw fit. We could do whatever kind of farming we wanted. We could, experiment with new crops that we could not grow in the little southeastern corner of Minnesota. And sometimes we'd play the game out in the living room so we could talk to Dad about it after chores, and he'd humor us about our decisions. You should probably put a bigger tractor on that. Why are you spraying this? What are you doing? And whatnot. It was always funny to hear what Dad had to say. Vicarious living through the virtual farm is something that came up in discussions with my friends as well, though for different reasons. This normal life of, say, let's take Stardew Valley for instance, allows you to get into a routine that's similar with each day, with of course minor variations, something I liked about growing up on a farm in real life. Some days you'll be harvesting your crops, other days you'll have to go run errands in town. It gives each day a nice structure that you can fill in the blanks of very easily with whatever you feel like doing. Building stuff, exploring new ways to use your produce, fishing, mining, exploring, it's all right there, and it's really, really relaxing. Relaxation is a very common response to the question of why people like these games. Farming is described by some as meditative because of its repetitive and satisfying nature. I've described Farming Simulator for this reason as my 300-acre Zen garden before, because gamification often takes the stressful parts out of farming. You don't have to worry about your loan from the bank because the bank is fake. If your crops don't yield quite right or they die in the field, that's okay. Try again next planting. You'll get them next time. The cows just need food and your love and attention, and they'll produce the best milk you have ever had. The gamification is what helps Harvest Moon and its contemporaries feel so relaxing. It allows your hands to stay busy while your mind takes a break and is allowed to wander. Not too different, really, from spending time in the cab of a real tractor doing things like cutting hay, for instance. You don't need to think too terribly hard for the first times after the first time you do it. How to go up and down the field, raise, and then turn the tractor and mower around, at which point you can zone out and listen to the radio or a podcast and just think. It's just chill. And I think that is what these games try and succeed to replicate. Something else that appeals to me personally was the social aspect of Harvest Moon and Stardew Valley in particular. There are townspeople you can visit and chat with, and sometimes that interaction is a big part of your day, especially when, say, chasing a sweetheart. Okay, gotta go make time after morning milking to go see what Anne is up to or something. Upon thinking about it, it's not too terribly different from the life of a real farmer. Let me tell you, if Stardew Valley had a cell phone system, you'd be getting calls from people every day, almost every minute. That is accurate to how my dad and my little brother experience being a dairy farmer. It's a surprisingly social line of work, and it's reflected in Harvest Moon and Stardew Valley pretty well. You have involvement in your community, which is another way these games can be appealing, actually. There are people that care about you in that town, and eventually you get attached to them. It's a similar system to Animal Crossing, actually. There are rewards for being social and making friends with the people in town. In my case, however, Animal Crossing doesn't have that routine element that makes Harvest Moon and Stardew Valley, even Farming Simulator, something that can grab my brain and tell it to calm down. The routine in Animal Crossing is a little bit more abstract, and there isn't anything gently tugging your shoulder for attention. The other thing that I think, in my case, makes Animal Crossing different from the farming games in the relaxing way is the pace. Animal Crossing is very chill, like I get that. It moves independently of you though. Stardew Valley moves with you in a time sense, and this sort of nails the vibe of farming a little better as well in the relaxing elements. Every time, say, I boot up Farming Simulator, I have a short to-do list, and it keeps changing. Though it stays short and pretty low priority, I can be flexible about, like, field work, and I can mold that around taking care of the cows and pigs, which is exactly how I play other farming games, too. Start the day with cow care, feeding, milking, bedding, anything else that needs to be done. Then when the sun comes up and I can see, I can start on field work. And come back at night, check on the animals again, and then go to bed to do it all over again the next day. It's really satisfying once you get into the loop. Animal Crossing, on the other hand, can sometimes feel like an obligation, while I can shut down Stardew Valley or Farming Simulator when I feel tired and want to go to bed or gotta go get food or something, and come back to it whenever I want. It'll be there waiting for me. The low time barrier, I suppose, that's the best name I have for it, to getting into the game definitely also helps the games feel a little bit more relaxing. Harvest Moon Wonderful Life actually takes us a step further in a way that was really satisfying to me as a farm kid, and that was letting me milk twice a day. You can kind of sandwich all your field work and your other stuff in between chore times, and it got me into the flow of home really, really easily, and it was something I super liked about that game, just to go on a tangent for a little bit. Go play Harvest Moon Wonderful Life. It's wonderful, to say the very least. It's got a lovely theme of time and stuff that really sticks with you after a little while. It all rolls itself up into a bundle of self-sufficiency, human creativity, and a peaceful rural lifestyle that we are almost built to appreciate as human beings. Stardew Valley tackles this head-on, as your farmer is a former employee of Joja, a giant mega corporation with tendrils and stores and network all over the place. And you leave that job to go take over your grandpa's farm. The juxtaposition is, I think, fair as someone who kind of went the opposite direction for her time at college. The amount of time I've spent longing for the more simple routine of home while at college and living in a small city is more than I'd care to count. Nothing is really different, but somehow being away from any hustle and bustle, away from rush hours and people who actually use their horns, away from streetlight pollution and being able to actually see the stars at night, It's the very picture of catching your breath for a bit. I think what I've found most is that we like games about farming because it feels like slowing down in a world that's constantly going at breakneck speed. Whether it's going back to your parents' farm or just playing some Harvest Moon, it's a great way to entertain your hands and let your brain just chill out for a little bit. Take a breather while still kind of entertaining yourself. Thank you so much for watching! If you want to see a follow-up to this or a video like this on another topic, let me know down in the comments. Leave a like and a share, and share it with the people you care about if you liked it. I'd love to do a little bit more of these investigative pieces like this. This was really fun. I think that's all I've got. So again, thank you so much for watching, and have a lovely, lovely rest of your day.